Hi guys.
So, can you explain the shirt?
The hoodie?
Yeah.
Oh man, I got it from my good friend in LA at Zeros. Zeros is a clothing store. No, never forget, man. Y'all know the moment when Donald Trump met Kanye, you know.
The superstar rapper has in fact said that he didn't vote, but had he voted, his ballot would have been cast for Mr. Trump.
Donald Trump met Kanye, you know. Very historical moment in our history.
I love this guy right here. Let me give this guy a hug. I love this guy right here.
Very historical moment in our history.
But the campaign I'm with her just didn't make me feel as a guy that didn't get to see my dad all the time, like a guy that could play catch with his son.
Very historical moment in our history.
So when I said I like Trump to like someone that's liberal, they'll say, oh, but he's racist. You think racism can control me?
Frank Clark of the Kansas City Chiefs has had a tremendous postseason, totaling 4 sacks after a strong showing with the Seattle Seahawks for 4 years. He grew up on Skid Row in downtown LA. He's lived on the streets of LA, scouring SoCal for something to eat. He turned his hardship and, in the words of Kanye, tragedy into triumph, becoming a standout at the University of Michigan under ex-coach Brady Hoke. Now, he's being paraded as a champion of the Trump administration and a racist president simply for wearing a hoodie of Trump meeting with Kanye back in 2016. Donald Trump Jr., born on third base with a golden spoon. Instagram Clark with the caption, "This is awesome." Jr., official murderer of the word lit, walked out of a press event after facing tough questions and criticisms, embodying the title of his book in a nutshell. Benny Johnson of Turning Point USA tweeted, "NFL star wears Trump swag to Super Bowl. This is counterculture." Johnson wrote, "Before the mob tries to cancel Frank Clark, know this. He's a Pro Bowler, anchoring his team's defense to their first Super Bowl in 50 years. Clark's a generous, inspiring member of his community. Clark is a free thinker." Johnson, a former employee of BuzzFeed, as the Washington Post wrote, was exposed as a plagiarist. 41 of his articles were based on the work of other writers, unattributed. He lost his job and an identity that had opened doors and put him on the guest list all over Washington. Benny does not see the sheer hypocrisy in his own written words letter by letter. If he digs Clark's philanthropy, wait till he finds out who Colin Kaepernick is. He's helped the homeless, strategized, then executed the $1 Million Pledge, giving a total of $1 million across various charities around the country, donated custom suits to formerly incarcerated individuals, homeless individuals, gang members, and survivors of domestic violence. By being able to wear appropriate suits to their interviews, these men and women are better equipped to achieve gainful employment, which will ultimately help them to transition into mainstream society and live more productive lives, wrote the Post. Cap donated his sneaker collection to the homeless in the Bay, helped get a airplane to fly food and water to the people of Somalia, big ups to Turkish Airlines for volunteering as tribute, and donated to Meals on Wheels along with many others. Benny, where's the love? One thing he intentionally left off to propel Clark's status as a supporter of the Trump movement, Clark pleading guilty to a felony charge of second-degree home invasion heading into his sophomore year, then was arrested for striking his girlfriend inside an Ohio hotel room as a senior. He was originally charged with misdemeanor assault and domestic violence. He spent 3 days in jail and was kicked off the Michigan football team. Later, he pleaded down to a lesser charge of disorderly conduct. Clark's then girlfriend, Diamond Hurt, suffered visible injuries, such as a welt on her cheek, bruises on her neck, and a scuff burn on her right hip in the incident. While growth and at times, if warranted, forgiveness may be deemed necessary in all aspects of human life, the intentional misdirection is unjustifiable. Clark has a right to do as he wishes. It's disappointing he is not an advocate for the homeless and wears Trump's face on his clothing, a man who will carry out a crackdown on LA's Skid Row where Clark once lived, and looked at a potential site for detaining hundreds or thousands of unhoused people. Furthermore, Housing Secretary Ben Carson made crude remarks about trans people, telling Bay Area staffers how big, hairy men could infiltrate women's homeless shelters. The White House is calling for a bigger role for law enforcement in policing unhoused people, questions the wisdom of housing first, a strategy that calls for giving housing to chronically homeless people before addressing substance abuse or unemployment issues, and makes a broad case for deregulating housing markets as a solution for unhoused people. Housing advocates took issue with all 3 of those ideas. While Clark, in my view, is more a supporter of Kanye West, I harper back to Megan Rapinoe's words.
I don't think anyone on the team has any interest in lending the platform that we've worked so hard to build, and the things that we fight for, and the way that we live our life. I don't think that we want that to be co-opted or corrupted by this administration.
It's why many notable members of society choose to stray away from Donald Trump. The message can be hijacked at any moment by supporters of an administration with one goal in mind: doing anything necessary to shit on the little guys while enriching their own pockets, even if it means allowing other forces to control our democracy.
What do you think about the other black athletes, about their attitude, which is certainly slightly less moderate than yours?
They just don't take part. They make $1 million, they get them a Rolls Royce, they get them a nice home, they get them a white wife. Well, I made it, America's great, and the rest of them catching hell, and he won't say nothing. But when one man of popularity can let the world know the problem, he might lose a few dollars himself telling the truth, might lose his life. But he's helping millions. But if I kept my mouth shut just because I can make millions, and then this ain't doing nothing. So I just love the freedom and the flesh and blood of my people more so than I do the money. You can take it, sure, and play it right in Washington. Let Nixon hear it.